Good evening, I'm Fon Quinter, welcoming you to the 6:30 p.m. edition of News on My Media Prime Television, beaming live from Studio A in Douala, Cameroon's economic capital. We begin the news in Yaoundé, where the Minister of Public Health, Dr. Manabuda Malachi, yesterday led a delegation for a simulation exercise at the entrance of the Olembe Stadium. This is in anticipation for matches to be played at the stadium during the upcoming Afghan competition. Join Gang with details.
On Sunday, January 9, during the opening match of the African Cup of Nations, pitting Cameroon against Burkina Faso, spectators will pass, each with their individual health pass and ID card, past checkpoints, set up health validations. To this effect, 40 control stations have been placed in order to make the operation more fluid. A stadium for those with updated health passes or towards the testing and vaccination site. Others will be directed to the site reserved for checking the authenticity of the vaccination card and COVID-19 test for validation. Some cases will be directed to the litigation and data management stand for electronic tracking. The simulation, attended by a public health minister, was intended not only to detect any hiccups and possible shortcomings for an immediate remedy, but also to ensure that spectators who will be granted access to the Olembe Stadium will not be carriers of the coronavirus. The controllers were recommended to work efficiently for a smooth entry into the stadium. As at now, the west entrance of the Olembe Stadium is reserved for spectators. Meanwhile, the east entrance is the one through which the President of the Republic, Paul Biya, and the entourage will use. The simulation continues in other host regions of the country before the kickoff of the African Cup of Nations.
In the southwest region, FACO lawyers this morning stormed the office of the State Council in Limbe following the arrest and detention of a colleague. They blocked the entrance of the State Council's office, demanding the release of the lawyer whose name we obtained as Alice Alobu. The lawyer, whom they say was arbitrarily arrested, was forcibly detained at the Brigata Limbe 2 days ago. So this one Cameroonian Afro-pop artist Bonjem Leslie, popularly known as Fish, has been laid to rest in his native land, Awing northwest region of Cameroon, following a wake organized by entertainers in Douala yesterday. Fish passed away in a ghastly car accident along the Tico-Douala highway on December 23, 2021, alongside his manager, Faker Pachibe Island Summer, with details.
Je ne suis pas dans les way de John Jola, maman, Jody Posh. See the way I call for my uncle, he men can give me chop and she don't for bad because.
Bonjem Leslie Aponglem, as known by all, Fish has been given a befitting burial following the tragedy involving himself and his manager Faker Pashibel that fateful night of December 23, 2021 along the Tico-Douala highway en route to Boya for a concert. It is worth mentioning that Fish gained popularity after emerging winner of the second edition of the Biggest Studios reality TV show, backing home the car involved in the crash and 12 million francs CFA 1 month before his demise. Fish's funeral started in Tico on Thursday, 6 January, where his mortal remains were removed from the Tico mortuary and conveyed to Bonaberi Douala, where a wake took place at his brother's residence at Sibeg. There, fans, friends, artists, relatives, and well-wishers had the opportunity to pay their last respect to the young talented star of 24 years old.
But to celebrate him for the legacy that he built. I want you all to clap for that. It's not easy. First thing first, it's not easy to build an audience.
And I saw this name, Fish. That was back in 2018. And I shared this first song was Bonbon Sifflé. That was Fish's first single. Bonbon Sifflé. And I shared that song, and he came one day. I was shooting with Dr. Ken Stevens, and he told me, "Big bro, you are the first Cameroonian artist to share my song." So when I heard you're shooting a video, I said I should come here and show you some support. Respect. Yeah, that is a lot of respect. And
the shock and pain of his passing took hold of the mourners present. Musi Derrick, a filmmaker, described the star as an intellectually talented individual.
Fish is one of the people that, I had to be here to mourn him. I mean, my heart breaks into countless pieces because I met Fish like 3 times before his death. 2 times at the Biggie Mansion, and I bet you for all the presentations that I did at the Biggie's Mansion, Fish asked me the most intelligent questions, and I saw a vibrant young man. He wanted to climb, steps that have not been created by the world. He was so talented. He was so intelligent, knowledgeable, involved in an accident. It's painful, it's hurting, but we understand one thing, that death only teaches us that our days on earth are numbered, and we've got to be the best of who we are, and our greatest love goes to the family, and we'll keep supporting them in whatever way we can. Much respect, Fish. I love you so much. Peace.
After the stopover in Douala, the remains of Fish were conveyed to his village Ewane in the northwest region of Cameroon, where he was laid to rest at his family compound. Fish, who leaves behind a 2-year-old daughter, will be greatly missed by his fans, friends, family, comrades, and will be greatly remembered as well for his uniqueness portrayed in his lyrics, music, dance moves, style, and legacy left behind.
The schools have effectively resumed in the city of Gaoundoué after end-of-year festivities. Education stakeholders in that part of the country have set new guidelines in a bid to ensure teachers complete their programs before the school year comes to an end. Get details with Katrina Kongwe.
After 2 weeks of Christmas holidays, students and pupils of the city of Gaoundoué have regained their classrooms. In this light, strategies have been put in place by school heads to ensure that teachers put in their best to boost results of students.
Nous avons déjà enregistré le retour de la majorité des élèves de l'établissement.
So far, the greater majority of students have resumed school, and equally, we have created platforms through which we can communicate proximately with our students. Beside the general media platform, we have other mediums which we use to communicate with our students.
C'est ce qui nous a permis d'avoir la majorité de nos élèves parvenus à ce jour.
More so, with the African Cup of Nations that will soon begin, students are bound to be distracted during these periods.
Quand la Coupe d'Afrique des Nations, n'est-ce pas, de football, il faut avouer que
with the African Cup of Nations that will soon begin, we know how our youth are fascinated about football. We have taken our time to sensitize and remind them that even though we are happy that Cameroon is hosting the African Cup of Nations, we should not forget that we still have studies to face.
Mais ils ne doivent pas oublier qu'après la CAN, ce sont des études.
It is the same environment in Victory Bilingual Primary School.
Nous avons donné beaucoup de devoirs à nos élèves.
We gave so many assignments prior to the festive holidays so as to push them to go back to their bookwork and not only focus on playing throughout the holiday. We have realized that thanks to the assignments, our pupils have not forgotten all that was taught during the first day.
Ils sont revenus, nous avons essayé de passer aux révisions et répondre correctement.
Teachers are therefore calling on parents to help children back at home on their studies so as to better them for the upcoming exams.
The Northwest Regional Budget, which stands at over 72 billion, has been launched in the city of Bamenda. Northwest correspondent Charles Kiwa attended the launching ceremony and now reports.
Some 10 poultry farmers in the Bamenda 2 municipality have benefited from a partnership recovery program January 6, 2022. The partnership, Bamenda 2 Council and the United Nations Development Program UNDP, the 10 poultry farmers who benefited from the assistance carefully selected to boost their productivity and whose farms were burnt down or poultry businesses crumbled caused by the Anglophone crisis.
This is for you a starting capital, a restart capital. So go through it, do your work. We will be coming around. I don't want the day any one of us want chicken, or someone want chicken, we want to recommend. When we call, they will tell us, oh, something happened. No, we don't want to hear any excuse about the non-success of this activity.
UNDP program coordinator for the Northwest encouraged the farmers who applied for the support, said the recovery program is for Bamenda 1, 2, and 3 municipalities, with Bamenda 2 being the pilot phase. The 10 beneficiaries each receive 300-day-old chicks, 21 bags of feed, drinker, feeder, wheelbarrow, spade, rake, and others to ensure production from start to finish and to the market. The Bamenda 2 beneficiaries are women.
Key to matrimonial happiness, the woman can better manage anything that has to do with success in beginning from the family to the community, and why not right at the marketing level.
Bamenda 2 Council First Deputy Mayor Louis Angwafo, on behalf of the Bamenda 2 Council, thanked the stakeholders, said with the action put in place by the head of state to those affected by the Anglophone crisis, after this recovery plan will move towards the reconstruction phase. He appealed to the farmers to group in cooperatives and submit their data to the Bamenda 2 Council, and the council will provide them with an incubator, increase fowls in the Bamenda 2 markets.
Come together as a cooperative and then let us know the number, their manpower. Their manpower will determine the capacity and the type of incubator that we're going to offer to them. So when they do all this and submit the data to us, we're going to study the type of machine that will be good to help to increase the quality of fowls in the market.
To the beneficiaries, such a gift at the beginning of 2022 will go a long way to boost their production capacities. It should be noted all the 10 carefully selected in the Bamenda 2 municipality were seriously affected by the ongoing Anglophone crisis, leading them to the situation they find themselves.
That was rather the distribution of some equipment to poultry farmers in the Northwest region who lost their farms as a result of the Anglophone crisis. We stay in the Northwest, where the budget, which stands at over 72 billion, has been launched in the town of Bamenda. Northwest correspondent Charles Kiwa attended the launching ceremony. He files in details.
The Northwest Regional Budget for 2022, which stands at over 72 billion francs FCFA, has been officially launched. The launching in Bamenda, January 5th, 2022, at the Minpat Conference Hall Upstation, officiated by the Secretary General at the Northwest Governor's Office, Vian Mekala, sitting in for the governor, emphasized the execution of the 2022 budget has been placed on budgetary discipline and strict respect of relative norms that accompanies the 2022 budget execution. The over 72 billion CFA francs for the Northwest, an increase from over 48 billion francs CFA from last year. Northwest Regional Delegate of Economic Planning and Regional Development, His Majesty Dominique, said the budget requires transformation for its unnecessary drivers for development.
The transformation phase of our economy, it requires infrastructure, that's roads, electricity and water. So if you want to transform, you cannot be transforming when you don't have roads, you don't have water, you don't have electricity and the necessary drivers for development.
Ashu Donatos, head of mission from the ministry in Ewane, who witnessed the launch of the budget, said funds for roads projects in the region are available but can only be put to use in a conducive atmosphere.
The government has no reason to lie to citizens because the government is the people. And if the financing, because the most important thing about construction, the most important thing about the road is the financing. The financing has already been put in place. So all what is left now is for the contracts to be awarded.
Questioned by press men and women, why suspend projects when projects like the Bamenda Ring Road, long envisaged, are still to take off?
The first phase of the road between Kumbo and Kabe is been described as a priority project as convention for the Ring Road. But you know, with the security challenges, last year we said that the Bamenda Road was already in the logbook. However, the project could not take off because of the security challenges we are having in the northwest.
The Bamenda Babaju Road, since promised by the Prime Minister on his last peace mission to the region, whose deadline expired, hope this time around with the new financial budget for the region, gunmen / two warring factions embrace peace and see the need for development.
The ICT University of Ewane has witnessed a change in administration. Professor Jean Emmanuel Pondi has replaced Professor Anyambot Emmanuel Anya, who has been at the helm of activities for the past 5 years. Get details with Nora Kakebi.
Just recently, a significant administrative change in position was carried out in the University of Information and Communication Technologies in Yaoundé. The official ceremony of the installation of the ICT University took place on January 5, 2022, with many dignitaries present at the university campus in the nation's capital. The change saw Professor Jean-Emmanuel Pondi, who was previously the Vice Rector at the University of Yaoundé 1 Ngwaikele, an erudite and sound intellectual who comes to replace the Reverend Professor Anyambot Emmanuel Anya.
My habit is, when you arrive at a new place, at a new institution as important as ICT University, what is wise to do is to enter, to listen, and to watch what's going on. It's after you've done this that you're able to state a few pronouncements which will make sense.
It should be noted that Professor Anya had spent over 5 years at the head of this internationally renowned university.
I needed people who would come to work with me and build that place. Professor Jean-Emmanuel Pondi was one of those who came to teach on part-time basis. And we move on and build relationship together with him.
According to many of his close collaborators, Professor Anya has indeed been an exemplary administrator, and to his students, he is simply a role model and a wonderful father who is open to all. During the ceremony, special prizes were awarded to both students and collaborators for their dedication, commitment, and expertise. Reverend Anya was applauded by dignitaries for his selfless service. Minette Libong Likeng, Minister of Post and Telecommunications, as well as a representative of the Prime Minister John Gute, applauded Professor Anya. At the end of the ceremony, the new Vice Rector urged his collaborators to be more sincere and hard-working.
News out of the country, our reporter Bokengo Worthy made brief stops in Nigeria, Ethiopia, Ghana, and Gambia. She brought back the following.
Though Africa enters the new year with new hope and vision, the continent is still plagued with intertribal wars, coup, COVID-19 pandemic, non-communicable diseases, violent rape cases in many countries such as Ethiopia. Located in the southwestern coast of Africa, the country for over a year now have been experiencing civil war, which exploded between Tigrayan and Amharas in the town of Mahikadra in Tigray recently, leading to the raping of more than 70 women by the Tigrayan fighters. It is alleged that these fighters are commanded by leaders who were once members of the Ethiopian government. According to the United Nations, the conflict has claimed the lives of thousands of Ethiopians and has plunged about 400,000 people into famine, leaving at least 9.4 million as refugees who are trying to cross over to northern Ethiopia and Sudan. Meanwhile, in Ghana, President Nana Akufo-Addo emphasizes on the need for a civil debate and tolerance as the country's parliament is working to vote on a controversial bill that will make gay, bisexual and transgender a crime in the country. Worthy of note is the fact that same-sex relationship is already punishable in the country by 3 years in jail. However, this draft law would forbid anyone from advocating for the rights of persons practicing same-sex marriage and relationship, as well as criminalize them with longer and serious sentence. To this regard, United Nations human rights expert warns that this draft could establish a system of state-sponsored discrimination and violence. Nonetheless, President Nana Akufo-Addo says same-sex marriage will never be legalized while he is president.
And let me in conclusion stress again that it will not be under the presidency of Nana Addo Akufo-Addo that same-sex marriage will be legal.
Moving on, illegal drug transportation seems to be on the rise in some West African countries since the start of this year. These include Niger, whose police seized 200 kilograms of cocaine worth about $8.7 million. And Senegal seized more than 2 tons of pure cocaine that was being shipped off its Atlantic coast, and the Gambian authority seized nearly 3 tons from a shipment originating in Ecuador, all as a result of increasing European demand. Staying in line with drugs, we talk COVID-19 vaccine as Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari says the country is working on developing a vaccine to help battle the growing cases of the virus in the country. It is worth mentioning that since the start of the pandemic, the country have recorded more than 3,000 deaths from an estimated 250,000 cases.
And to sports, Gabon risk sanctions by CAF's disciplinary committee after violating CAF's regulation by refusing a hotel allocated to them and choose another despite the fact that their request was rejected. They were given 24 hours to explain the reasons for their action, and amidst these is the fact that their team captain has tested positive for COVID-19 2 days to the start of the event. Young Besong Magdela with Afghan updates.
Gabonese Football Federation risks facing sanction by CAF's disciplinary committee after the Football Federation was given 24 hours to explain to the Confederation of African Football why they refused Hotel La Falaise chosen for them by CAF and preferred to go lodge in a private hotel which was not amongst those lodging facilities allocated for the AFCON by CAF, thereby violating CAF's regulations. The Panthers arrived host nation Cameroon's political capital Yaoundé on Wednesday and are drawn in Pool C alongside Morocco, Ghana and newcomers Comoros, whose games will be staged at the Fandena, popularly known as the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium in Yaoundé. Gabon risk to face sanctions after violating the rule when their request to choose another hotel was rejected by CAF, with claims of Hotel La Falaise announced to all 24 teams as early as August 16, 2021. Amidst this sanction risk is the fact that their team captain Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has tested positive for COVID-19.
Magdala Eyong Besong's report concludes the 6:30 p.m. edition of News on My Media Prime Television. Coming up at exactly 7 p.m. is Prime Hour with Kumi Leonard and his team. My name is Fon Quinter. Have a great week and in the company of more programs on The African Eye. Good night.